First liver transplant registrar at Flinders Medical Centre in 1992. And John, even though Malcolm McKinnon was head of gastroenterology and was the incumbent at the time that the transplant unit started, John was actually the first appointed head of hepatology. So you would think, given our long association with the liver transplant unit, that we would have been given a little bit more notice about the requirement to contribute to the official part of this evening. So Beryl rang me on Monday and said, do you think that you could give a little speech at John's farewell? Do you think you could give a little speech at Rob's farewell? She said, I'm expecting that there'll be a lot of lectures from crusty old surgeons. Do you think you could make it a bit funny? So of course, I found myself under extreme stress. And given that we've only, and of course John lives in Victoria, so, you know, we were quite unprepared. However, both of us, we just threw down a few lines in the foyer over there, and I have to say, what do you think? We're actually feeling somewhat more confident now.
I bring this with me everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I wasn't prepared.
Before we give our joint speech, and I'd have to say, given that both of us love Rob Padby dearly, and really all we want after this speech is for Rob to look at us and say,
and vomit.
And say, you idiots. So, if we might just start off with a few anecdotes. So, first transplant registrar at Flinders, not a surgeon, but in all of my time at Flinders, I have felt that Rob has had my back. He's been lovely to me and very supportive. So here's to you. I was fortunate when I first came to Adelaide with the money that my then wife had charged me with the responsibility of finding a rental property and buying a car. But instead I walked into Bel Air Cellars and they had 2 cases of the 1986 Grange, which I promptly bought. And I think having discussed that with Dr. Padby was the reason why he took me on, and also why he invited me to the Universal Table, that wonderful wine club all those years ago. And I knew that he loved me. Because I went to my first TSANZ, which is the Transplant Society Conference in Canberra, and we ended up in Steve Lynch's hotel room in the early hours of the morning, drinking a lot of alcohol, such that I had to miss the next day. And I went to the Qantas Club early, and I was lying on a couch in the Qantas Club, and Rob, bless him, placed a large glass of red wine next to my head. Whereupon I vomited. And I've never forgot that. Anyway, I'll hand over to my colleague, Dr. Ream, the first head of hepatology in the Flinders transplant unit.
Thank you, Dr. Makeley. Look, as is traditional at weddings, funerals and bar mitzvahs, emails or, in the old days, telegrams should be read out. And I have to say, Rob, that I contacted Birmingham and I asked them if they had anything to say about you. And I got a reply from James Newberger. And James said, I remember Rob well. I've been trying hard to find an anecdote that would be suitable, but so far I have failed to come up with anything appropriate.
There were some inappropriate ones.
I remember him as hard-working, hard-playing, and with very clear goals. He had no qualms about speaking up or questioning anyone. As far as a physician can judge a surgeon, he was an excellent doctor who contributed to the care of the patients in Birmingham. I'm sorry if this is not the sort of thing you were looking for, but I will try to rack my brains for some anecdote As you say, his reputation both preceded and followed him. But I can honestly tell you I never shared the backseat of his car.
That's from James. That's not me. I'm sorry.
Now, is that all you want to say?
That's it. It wasn't me. It was James.
Are you going to play the ukulele?
I'm gonna. Well,
I actually can't play the ukulele.
but you won't be able to hear it, which is good. So, could you give me an E?
E. That's the G string.
I like the G string.
Now, I'm struggling with a bit of a sore throat.
Could everybody please be upstanding?
Oh yes, can everybody stand up, please?
And now can all the girls please sit down?
Would all the ladies sit down, please?
And can anybody whose name is Rob Agri also
It's
sit
not Rob
down?
Agri. Anybody not called Rob Agri, please sit down. Now, Rob, are you okay to stand for a while?
This won't hurt. This will not. This won't hurt.
Right, ready?
Well, shall we introduce us what we've done?
So, well, we've just prepared a little musical, I say that with qualification, musical performance for you. And please just, I can't sing, John can't sing. We did ask Charles to come up because apparently he could sing, but he wasn't interested. And actually, before we do this, I'd like to say to Paul Dolan, who in his adulation of the transplant team failed to mention the hepatologist. So John and I would just like to say, we never liked you.
Ready?
Because we cannot sing, and you won't be able to hear this thing, I want you to imagine
Oh, there are two microphones.
and the turntable. Does that one work?
Yeah. You need to turn it on.
Yeah.
Does that work?
No, it's here. I'll hold it. We were expecting a sound man and a lectern, but that didn't seem to happen.
No, so we'd like you to imagine this is done to the tune of Frank Sinatra's My Way.
You know, it is to the tune of Frank Sinatra.
Are you never told me that? Oh. And it's written by not McCartney and Lennon, but Len Ring and Mick McCartney.
That's it.
And it's called Rob's Way.
Righto. Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you okay? Standing? Right. No, you got your own microphone.
No, I can't play the ukulele.
Ah, true.
Right, are you ready?
Right. And now the end is near, and as you tie those final sutures, your friends are gathered here. We wish the best for your future. You've lived a life not dull and built from scratch a transplant unit and more, much more than that. You did it your way. Regrets, there can be few, but then again, too few to mention. You did what you had to do and led us on without exception, and more, much more than that. Oh no, we're missing line. A dream, a rocky start, some wayward steps. We've come a long way, and more, much more than that. We graft them your way. Yes, there were times John Blandford knew You'd bit off more than you could chew. But through it all, then there was doubt. You drank it up and spat some out. You faced them down. We all stood tall and grafted your way. Wait. We've laughed, we've laughed, we've cried. We've had our wins, our share of losing. The leaks, the HATs, the Falun Gong was so bruising. To think you've done all that, and may we say, not in a shy way. Oh yes, dear Rob, we graft them your way. So who is this man? What has he got? All our respect, and that's a lot. 2 steel blue eyes and silver hair, a little older, but still debonair. The record shows that he stands tall. He is the best, and that's not all. We fight back, 'tis everybody now, for all the years you